function. Today, we have our resource person, Mr. Abhinav Apte, the founder of Track Change LLP in Ponda, Goa. It is our privilege to welcome you, sir. May I now request the principal of Rosary College, Associate Professor Helik Barreto, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Now, in Rosary College, we organize a number of programs, seminars, and other activities for our students every year. But this year, the situation, the COVID pandemic, has forced us to conduct webinars, to organize activities in the form of webinars, that is the online mode. Because we have continued, irrespective of the pandemic, we have continued offering these activities for our students in this format, in the online format. Today is one of such activities that we are having in the online mode. Now, what we observed is whenever we used to organize activities in face-to-face mode, whether it is a talk, whether it is a seminar or a conference, we used to organize it only for our students. But online mode has also enabled students from other colleges, not only from Goa, but from outside the state, to be part of such webinars. So in a way, this pandemic has helped people from other states to take benefits of such webinars and to learn something which is offered by various colleges during this time. So today, I welcome each one of you for a national level webinar on energy efficiency and conservation. Now, to deliver the address, to deliver this topic, we have with us an expert in this area, Mr. Abhinay Apte. I welcome you, sir, for this program, for this webinar. I also welcome all the participants who have logged in from Goa and outside Goa for this webinar. I hope all of you will benefit, will gain something out of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Participants, one request. I request all the students, academicians, research scholars, and other participants attending this program us to introduce the resource person.
Mr. Abhinav D. Apte is BTech Mechanical Engineering from NIT Rourkela. He secured his MBA from BIM Trichy. He has 13 plus years of multi-sector, government, corporate, and MSME experience. Mr. Abhinav is the founder director of Track Change LLP, a change management for sustainable development firm since July 2020 and has worked as a general manager of Leela Digital and Environmental Solutions Private Limited for 2 years. He worked as a general manager, solid waste management cell, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Goa, and worked as a supply chain management consultant in Essential Services Private Limited for more than 2 years. Mr. Abhinav has experience of organizational exposure in service operations, business development, and channel management with Telco Constructions Equipment Company Limited. He was also associated as brand service manager at Mumbai. Mr. Abhinav Apte has been a participant in various intra-college events as well as football and cricket tournaments during his MBA. He pioneered the Green BMI campaign on environmental awareness at BMI, Kochi, where he undertook several initiatives for reducing paper usage on the college campus. Besides, he has been actively involved with environmental and social awareness initiatives. His work with students of Give Goa deserves a mention. He volunteers for group for Seva NGO since 2013, which is responsible for creating an environmental awareness and activity sessions in different schools in Bangalore. It is my pleasure to now welcome our resource person, Mr. Abhinav D. Apte, and request him to address the participants of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Rosary College, the principal, the faculties, Professor Purva, and all the people who have organized this program. Thanks a lot for inviting me for this session. Welcome to all the participants for this session. I am very glad to see a lot of interest in this particular topic. So welcome you all. I will just start by sharing my PowerPoint presentation. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so this topic is energy efficiency and conservation. I would like to start this presentation by a quote from Professor E.F. Schumacher. Um, Professor Schumacher was a renowned economist, and about energy, he writes in a book called Small is Beautiful, written in 1973. He writes, "It is impossible to overemphasize its centrality. Energy is to the mechanical world what consciousness is for the human world. If energy fails, everything fails." So you can understand how much energy means to every one of us. He writes, no, if as if energy is not there, just like a human being will be unconscious, the entire mechanical world will be unconscious. Can you guess? Anyone can guess what is this? I would like anybody to participate. Let's have it a participatory session. Anybody wants to maybe write in the comments and guess what this is. You can just share it. Okay, so this is Korba NTPC power plant. It is 1,500 kilometers from Goa. That is where we are getting a major chunk of our electricity. This one is in Ramagundam in Telangana. This is 900 kilometers. So one is 1,500 kilometers from Goa and one is 900 kilometers from Goa. These are the two plants which are providing electricity to Goa. We are not getting electricity in Goa generated in Goa. Very small percentage of electricity that is generated in Goa is is used. Very less percentage is generated in Goa. Now, another aspect I would like you to understand is there is an electricity revenue deficit for Goa. What does that mean? It means what the electricity department is paying to get electricity to our homes or our industries, and what we are paying the electricity department as bills. There is a deficit there. There is 342.3 crores short deficit. So we have to understand that whatever energy bills we are paying, it is not able to get us the entire electricity that we are supposed to get. Just some simple facts about energy that we get in Goa. We were having a peak demand of 650 megawatt before COVID. Now it is 550 megawatt. So the COVID situation has led to reduced demand for electricity in Goa. What is the energy requirement for the state? It is 350 million units per month. What is 1 unit? 1 unit is 1 kilowatt hour. To give you a perspective, Goa, on an average, every person, say, on an average, consumes 7 units of electricity per day. That is including all the industrial, commercial, domestic, everything. Out of those 350 million units, around 1/5 or say 70 million units is domestic consumption and rest is commercial and industrial. 70% of the demand is met from the two sources I had just shown you. What is this? This is a demand that we are getting from as our sanction load. One of the major concepts of electricity is the sanction load. So when we say demand, at what is our demand depends on how much of the loads that we have in our households, in our commercial establishments, in our the number of equipments that we use. The total number of equipments and their entire loads add up to this particular sanction load that we have from each of these houses, each of the commercial establishments, and together it becomes one big sanctioned demand that we say for Goa. What is the power generation within Goa? So we have these 4 major generators, which is approximately 4% of the requirement in Goa. Only 4% is generated in Goa. Rest, everything is coming from outside. What happens to LPG, petrol, and diesel? From where is that coming? I'm just giving you some statistics. If you can see, from 2010 to 2019, if you can see what is the production and demand gap. The production has, it was around 300 before, which has now reached around 400. But the demand has, from 450 approximately, it has gone to more than 800, say 830, 840. So you can imagine we are more and more becoming dependent on external sources of energy, and our production is not able to cope up with that demand. So we are more dependent on imports. Okay, this is the LPG scenario. Out of that, look at the US's share. If you see total LPG import and import from US, it is steadily increasing. Let us look at other petroleum products. From 2001 to 2017, this is a graph that is being shown. So look at how much is the production and how much is the net imports. You can see more and more the production is becoming less and the imports are increasing. What does this mean? Look at coal from 2005-6 to 2017-18. Import, a major chunk of the demand is met by production, domestic production. So we produce a lot of coal in India, but that also is reducing as a percentage of the total demand. Say it was 407 metric tons against 41 metric tons of import. Right now it is around 2017-18, it was 689 and 208. So here it was, say, 10% of the production was import. Here the import is almost 30%, 30 to 40%. So you can see we are becoming more and more dependent on our imports. So why is this bad for us? The more we are dependent on the external sources, we are making ourselves vulnerable to price changes and so many other things. Imagine there is a shortage of fuel in those particular countries from where we import. We import a large chunk from Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and most of these Middle East countries. I'm talking about petroleum, LPG, this kind of imports. So when these imports are dependent on these countries, we are making ourselves more and more dependent on the scenarios in those countries, and that is where our prices can increase, decrease. So we have to ensure that we are more and more less and less dependent on those countries, and we are more and more able to meet our own demands by our own production. So that is where we have to achieve. Now, what should we do as responsible citizens? One is behavior change. When we say behavior change, as every citizen, we are all using various kinds of energies. One is the energy that we use is one is electricity. Second type of energy that we use is no LPG or no cooking gas. Third types of energy that we are using is petrol, diesel, etc. These are the direct sources of energy that we are using. We also have to ensure that our indirect sources of energies are also reduced. What is that indirect source of energy? That indirect source of energy is the water that we are using. So you can imagine the water that comes to our taps or our commercial establishments, whether it is a school, whether it is a college, whether it is any other source. The water that comes to our institution or our building or our house, that comes from a place which is far away, and there is a lot of treatment, there is a lot of pumping, and there is a lot of transport that goes on behind that particular source. So when we think about water, it does not originate at the tap, it originates at a water treatment plant from where it has been transported, filtered and delivered at our doorstep. So when we waste that, there is a lot of energy which is used for that particular water that we are wasting. Also, when we waste food, a lot of food, if we look at the food cycle, the food takes around 4.5 months for a farmer to produce. After that farmer produces that food, he uses a lot of energy to produce that food. No, a lot of water, a lot of energy is being used for that food. After that, it is stored. Then it is transported from, say, Goa does not produce enough food to to meet all the needs of its population. So a lot of food comes from outside, vegetables, fruits, even grains, most of the things come from outside. So when that comes, it also spends a lot of fuel on transportation. Then we spend a lot of fuel on cooking that particular food. And when we waste, we have to ensure that we waste as little as possible, or we don't waste, because there is a lot of indirect energy that has been spent on that particular food that we eat. So that is the indirect sources that we have to ensure we are not wasting. Water is done, food is done. Now again, waste. Whenever we waste that food again, waste food has to again travel by the it is taken by the waste picker and taken to a material recovery facility, or no, a bigger facility, where again more energy is spent on that particular food food waste. So we, as responsible citizens, can stop that journey by maybe composting ourselves. So these are the behavior changes that we common citizens can um, implement or practice, so that the all direct as well as indirect sources of energy are conserved, and we are having more energy resources at our disposal. Second is maintenance. So our when we maintain our fuel, maintain our vehicles, we maintain our laptops, we maintain all the equipments that we are using. When we maintain them well, and when we ensure that they have a better life, that means the for example, to give you a small example, if there is a small bike that one person has, if that bike is used for say 20 years with good maintenance, then there is one more person who is using the bike without good maintenance, and then that bike is not able, like the life of the bike ends up in say 5 6 years or 8 years. Now that person is buying another bike. That means that many uh, kilograms of iron, that many more resources, that much more oil is going to be used for production of that particular new bike, which would not have been the case had he maintained that bike well. So when I say behavioral change, it also implies to products that we use, no, how we maintain them, how we make sure we are getting maximum benefit and the maximum life out of those resources. Third thing is about renewable energy sources. So we should go more and more for solar production, for biogas, for biomass briquettes, or firewood for at least our heating purposes, like heating water, etc. We should collaborate as a community. How can we collaborate as a community? We should, for example, we can carpool. Come to the next slide on that. No, if there is some resource that we can jointly use, we should use that as a source, as a resource. No, we could then we should have a lot of awareness and training workshops, just like how we are having this one now. So these are the things that we can do as responsible citizens. What is the government supporting? Government is supporting a lot in terms of the support to MSMEs. No, there is a green investment scheme for MSMEs in Goa. MSME is medium, small, and micro enterprises in Goa. Energy audits, they are subsidizing up to 1 lakh grant is given for energy audits. Power saving equipment up to 10 lakh grant is given. So this is where the government is supporting these particular initiatives of energy audits. This is a carpooling that everybody can use. So to give you a perspective, 50 kilometers of car travel is equal to 25 units or 1 week of electricity for a family. Can you imagine? When you drive for 50 kilometers of car, you are consuming the same amount of energy in kilowatt hours as you would have used for 1 week of electricity consumption for one family. So when you carpool, you save that much more. And then you also reduce traffic congestion, pollution, wastage of energy, etc. So these are some of the initiatives I just mentioned about about this, and I would like to have this more like a question answer or a discussion session than just me speaking about it. So anybody has any questions, I would be happy to answer. I think my presentation is done as of now.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful presentation. May I now request all the participants to put your questions in the chat box. I request the participants, if you have any question, you can either put it in the chat box, or if you would like, then you can unmute and post your question here.
If someone wants to look at the presentation, please let me know. I can put the presentation back. Any particular slide?
Once again, I request all the participants, in case if you have any questions, kindly put it in the chat box, or you may speak. You may unmute and speak.
Okay.
So, Abhinav, we
Hi,
have
sir.
one question from Rohin Menezes, who is asking, what is your view on the requirement of the Kanmar project in the state of Goa?
I have not studied it, so we can take this on an offline. Not I didn't expect this question to be here, so I will have to study. I have not studied that particular project in Goa, but I will not be able to give you any views unless I study that project. So good that you asked this question. I will be happy to discuss about this in detail with the person who has asked this question, and I am happy to give all my views. But before that, I will have to study that project, and then only I'll be able to give my views. I am very being frank here. I have not studied that project right now.
Thank you, sir. If I'm not mistaken, Sir Nipun was trying to say something. If you were posting your question, you can please continue, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And first of all, I would like to say that that was an amazing presentation. Thank you, sir. And my question was, just regarding the last slide that you showed us, that which mentioned that 50 kilometers of using the car. I mean, using the car for 50 kilometers is equal to consumption of 1 week of electricity of a household. So, I mean, but then I guess the electricity used in car is kind of renewable because, as and when the car, we ride the car, the battery actually gets charged. So, how would it make a difference if you actually,
No,
but
when I said electricity consumption for one household is equal to for 7 days is equal to 150 like 50 kilometers of car, is the diesel or the petrol that is used in the car. For when a car travels for 50 kilometers, it uses a certain like quantity of petrol. So when I convert that petrol into energy terms, like kilowatt hours, and then I compare how much of a electricity consumption is for an average household for 7 days. That 50 kilometers of energy consumption for say that much quantity of petrol is equal to the kilowatt hours that an average household spends in 7 days. That is what I meant.
okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Sir Abhinav, there is another question from Geeta Khan. She's asking, as an ordinary citizen, I would like to use more of a solar means of energy, but I find it is expensive. Your comments, please.
Yeah, so I would suggest I have 2 3 points to make over here. One is, when you say it is when you want to use solar energy but you find it expensive. So solar energy can be used in three ways. Okay, one is for solar cooking, second is for solar heating, and third is for solar PV, or solar electricity generation. So which of, I would ask back the question, which of these three have you explored and which one of these three are you finding expensive? One. Second, um, solar cooking is, I find it much cheaper or much easier if you know learn the right technique. We are using that technique for say solar cooking, as well as for um, say roasting peanuts or roasting rava, these kind of things, no, which take a lot of more LPG than than usual. So we are using a lot of solar energy for these kind of activities, for solar cooking as well. And then solar heating, we can see a lot of households in Goa using solar heating for their water requirements. So bathing water requirements or cooking water requirements, that is much more economically feasible. Solar PV or solar electricity is also a very good option, and government has come up with a subsidy for that. So I would request Madam Geeta to explore all these three ways of using solar energy, and then you can always get in touch with me. I will drop my number here for everybody's convenience, so that, no, in case you have any issues or any questions around what how to make it more economically feasible, you can please let me know. I can guide you on that as well. I hope I have answered the question.
Yes, sir. Uh, there is a request in the chat
Yeah,
box
yeah,
for some slides, but can you please
yeah.
specify which slides? Uh, Mr. Sivraman, can you please request what slide do you like to watch?
I'm putting all slides anyways. So let him
Sure.
ask which one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? If you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask. Before we wind up the program, there is one instruction to all the participants. You will have to fill up the feedback form to receive the e-certificates, and the certificates will be emailed to your registered email IDs. So kindly fill the feedback form. It is mandatory to receive your certificates. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think there is one question in the chat box. Is an electric vehicle or a petrol diesel vehicle more
Oh,
efficient for a regular middle income citizen? Rohin Menezes has asked the question.
yes.
Yeah, so I'll take that question. Mr. Rohin, electric vehicle is better option. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason is, see, the electricity that comes to our um, our state from various sources, that is much easier to um, to distribute or to use rather than distribution of petrol or diesel. So imagine diesel or petrol coming from the Middle East through ships to our ports. That diesel gets unloaded in various barrels, big huge tanks and barrels in our ports. From there it is taken in various containers and trailers, big huge trailers, and then it comes to our like distribution centers in or bottling centers in Verna, or there is some in Kondain, or there are other places also. So then from there it is then taken to the various pumps and petrol pumps, etc., petrol diesel pumps. So the entire supply chain or journey of the transport of diesel and petrol till it comes to our vehicle, and the journey of electricity, I know the electricity journey is much easier, and it is much more formalized and very fast. So that is why electrical vehicles are more energy efficient.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions? In that case, can we wind up the program? Sabina, you are receiving a lot of comments and compliments in the chat box. Yes.
Yeah, and to all the participants, whoever has asked about the Tanmar project or no, I'll be happy to connect to them. You can please text me or write to me or call me for that project. We can discuss about it. We can understand what are the pros and cons, and I'm happy for a discussion like that. So please feel free to discuss any other as well. May not be that particular project, but any other project that would you want to discuss, and I'll be happy to discuss. This is a very interesting field that I am very passionate about. So please feel free to get in touch for any of these clarifications, doubts, discussions, or just sharing ideas.
Okay, there are no more questions. Would any participant like to say something or comment anything? If not, then we can wind up the session. Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am, I'm
Yes.
Shivani. Really, it's a good session and it's a really lot informative for all of us to attend. And sir, it's a very means not only means it is useful for the means right now. It is very useful for the future as well. Because startingly explained that the means it's not related to electricity and the power which we use, but it means it sir says a lot about the how should we save the power, and sir gave the example of the food. That is I like a lot. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shivani. We have almost come at the end of the session. So let us now wind it up. Please stay online, don't leave the meet. On behalf of Rosary College of Commerce and Arts, it is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. It is said that gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. I would like to express my warm gratitude to our resource person, Mr. Abhinav Apte. I would like to mention our deep sense of appreciation for our resource person for his explanation and giving the excellent coverage to the topic. It was really a very informative session, sir. I also like to express my gratitude to all the participants, including the teachers, academicians, research scholars, students, general public who gave the valuable time and attended the session. We are really grateful to our principal, Associate Professor Helig Barreto, and our administrator, Reverend Professor Simao Denise, for always encouraging us to organize such events. I would like to thank the staff of Rosary College for their valuable assistance in organizing this webinar. Thank you. Thank you once again. Have a nice day.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Yeah.
Participants, please fill the feedback form in order to receive the certificates.